What are you at, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Lycos, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make hundreds of millions of units using these amazing unit farming methods. With the first method, we're going to be getting some of the best ships in the game and farming tens of millions of units at the same time. Now this is one of the fastest and easiest ways that I found to farm interceptor ships. Now starting off with the basics here, you need to go to a dissonant system. Just so happened that when I got to the system, I ran into a freighter battle. Now this capital freighter is pretty cool. I thought I'd give you guys the glyphs just in case you guys have your glyphs unlocked and you want to get this capital freighter. Now once we get to the dissonant system, we're going to be looking for a dissonant planet, and these are the planets that have the corrupted sentinels, and we're going to be looking for a very particular sentinel. If you're flying around slow, you should be able to find them pretty easily, but we're going to be taking these guys out looking for an echolocator. Now it all depends on how lucky you are, but hopefully you find them on the very first sentinel that you take out. Once we get the echolocator, we're just going to use it and it's going to show us where to find a camp. At this camp you can actually get a very good multi-tool, but that's not what we're here for. We're going to go over to this terminal, and then we're going to figure out the very easy little puzzle that's there, and then we're going to click on locate dissonant spikes. And this is going to show you exactly where you can find an interceptor ship. So what we're going to do before we leave this area is we're going to put down a little outpost so that we can easily find our way back. So the whole method of making hundreds of millions or even billions of units using this method is we're just going to find these interceptors, then we need to repair the ship, which isn't too difficult. You can find everything that you need on the planet. Now of course any of these ships that you come across you can keep for yourself. These interceptor ships are some of the best ships in the game. This one that I found here I thought looked pretty cool, and again if you guys want to get this one for yourself, the glyphs are on the screen right now. But most of these ships we're going to be taking to a space station and we're going to be scrapping them. Once we scrap them, we're going to get items that are worth a lot of units. Now since we put down a base at the camp, we can easily find this camp again and use the terminal to find another interceptor ship. This makes farming interceptor ships very fast and easy to do. Now that we scrapped our first interceptor ship, if it was worth a lot of units like the one that I had here, there's a good chance that you'll get a Starship AI valve. And there's actually an exploit that you can use to duplicate these and get insane amounts of units. It's very easy and straightforward. All you need to do is be on a planet and put down your portable refiner. Then we're going to put the Starship AI valve in the portable refiner and then place more refiners directly on top of that one. You can place down as many as you can, and then when you pick them up, it's going to duplicate the item for every refiner that you place down. Of course this is a bit of an exploit and not everyone is going to want to use it, but if you want to make units insanely fast, this is a very easy way to do it. This next method is very simple, and it's one that you can do early on in the game. Now the better ship weapons you have, the faster you will be able to do this method. I only have a couple of upgrades from my ship weapon, but as you will see, this is more than enough to make millions of units really fast. For this method, the first thing you're going to do is find a planet that has salt. You're looking for a planet that has a ton of water on it. These planets are pretty common, but this planet that I'm on here is actually in the same system where I found the Sentinel ship in the previous method. Then you're going to go down to the surface of the planet, go for a swim, and start scanning everything that's underneath the water. Now while we're scanning, we're mainly looking for the things that have oxygen and salt. Once you found those, you can jump back into your ship, and then we're just going to fly around shooting down into the water. Now there's a couple of different ship weapons that can work with this method, but I particularly like the infra knife. Now the amount of resources that you'll get will vary depending on the planet that you find. Luckily I found one where I'm getting a ton of oxygen, and that's really what you want to see, because the main portion of this is going to be using oxygen to make chlorine. Now as you can see here, a lot of the things that we're getting from underneath the water are worth quite a bit of money. For instance, salt is quite valuable, but the important thing is we can turn salt into chlorine using our personal refiner, and then we can use the oxygen and the chlorine together to create even more chlorine. Now there's one key thing that you're going to need to do this method in the way that I'm doing it here. You're going to need the personal refiner that allows you to put in 2 resources. Now it's pretty easy to get this. You just get it on the anomaly from this NPC here. Just make sure to get the MK2 version, and then you just need to install it onto your suit. And since it's a personal refiner, we can just fly around and then constantly be putting resources into the refiner. I've used methods similar to this a lot of times in the past, but before we got this personal refiner, we had to go back to our base in order to refine the resources. But now we can do it at the same time that we're flying around farming resources. I like this method so much because it's super easy, you can do it very early on in the game, and it doesn't take much time to set it up. All you need is the MK2 personal refiner, a decent ship weapon, and the right planet. Now moving on, we've got another very easy method, but this one could get you in a little bit of trouble. All we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding different freighters and attacking the cargo containers in order to get the resources. If you destroy the containers that are attached to them, you're going to be getting stuff that is worth a lot of units. Now the only issue with this is that whatever faction that you're attacking, you're going to get negative reputation with them, but you will get positive reputation with the outlaws. So if you want to be an outlaw in No Man's Sky, this is a great way to make a ton of units. And being an outlaw and getting into these space battles in No Man's Sky can be pretty fun. And as you can see, a lot of these items are worth a lot of units, and you might find some other interesting items as well. Now the last method that we're going to talk about is probably the easiest way to make units in No Man's Sky, and basically all you're doing is just hanging out on the anomaly and hope that someone's going to come by and give you something that's worth a crazy amount of units. You can actually be quite surprised by what some people will give you in No Man's Sky. Right now I'm actually going to give away a stack of AI units worth 600 million units. Now I do this every now and then, and I usually try and find a new player, and there's actually quite a few people in the No Man's Sky community that do this on a pretty regular basis. So I see that this guy has a starter ship, so he seems like a pretty good candidate. But unfortunately, it seems like he's got a full inventory and I'm not able to give him the AI units. So let's try and find someone else. There's another starter ship here, so I'm going to run through the anomaly and see if I can find this guy. So we found him, but hopefully he stops running around so we can give him his gift. Finally, he stopped for a minute, and luckily he had room in his inventory. And I hope that when he discovers this stack of AI units later on, it really makes his day. So those are some of the best ways to get units in No Man's Sky. I hope you guys got some useful information out of this video. If you want to check out more of my No Man's Sky guides, there's a couple on the screen right now. Thank you all for watching, and as always, stay where you're at, and I'll come where you're to. Later everyone.